Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we're going to cover off the deck list that the participants for the Arena Championship 3 brought for Standard Best of 3. So this is a 32-person tournament. So the folks who qualified through the qualifier weekends, they got through the 2 days. They get to play for the Arena Championship. There's a bunch of cash prizes that folks can win through this. So it's a mixed format, draft and standard. So we'll take a look, see what folks brought. Note, this is going to be right before this tournament runs Saturday, Sunday, and Monday we get the ban list. They did this on purpose because folks were testing. So some of this stuff might be dated come next week, but it also gives us some ideas for folks who didn't bring some of the key cards to the formats or shells that we can look at. So we'll jump into it. The most represented deck was Rakdos Midrange, and it's pretty much the stock list that we saw at the PT, so not going to go too far into detail. I'll link all these lists if you want, but it's the Chandra's Hope Beacon, double copying, Invoke Despair, or Light Up the Night as your kind of win condition. You got your Sheoldreds, your Trespassers, Fable with Blood Tithe Harvester, and then of course Reckoner Bankbuster. So two cards that are potentially on the ban list in Fable and Reckoner most likely are gone. Things like Sheoldred, maybe Invoke Despair potentially as well. So this is kind of the list there. The kind of innovative list that we're seeing at this tournament is the Jeskai Dragons list. So this is a very loose kind of connotation of dragons, being Zergo and Ojtai as the dragon in the deck. So this is a flying haste, has hexproof as long as they enter the battlefield this turn. Whenever one or more dragons you control deals combat damage to a player or battle, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, press the bottom of your library. You may return up to one of those dragons to its owner's hand, so you can kind of keep recycling. But the kind of joking Splinter Twin situation here is using Invasion of Gobokan, because then you can flip it immediately, and then it gets counters on your Zergo, and then you can protect your Zergo. It's also kind of like a Thoughtseize style effect, as well as the Invasion of New Phyrexia, which not in a single attack, but then you can flip it into the Teferi. It's got a Wedding Announcement and Fable, 2 very powerful enchantments, Wandering Emperors, and then just some control elements, Play with Fire, Braid, Destroy Evil, and then make this appear as counter spells. You got your barrages in the sideboard, a couple copies of the Chrome Host Seed Shark in the grindy matchups, Archangel of Wrath, and then just seems kind of illegal only playing 3 Reckoner Bankbusters in your 75, but decisions were made there. And I trust the folks that are playing in the final 32. But interesting deck, seeing some innovation in this format here. A couple ways to hit the big stuff with like Disdainful Stroke as well. We then go to Selesnya Enchantments. So this is a list Seth Manfield brought. So interesting list. It's not the... Actually, no copies of Calyx in this one. It's kind of the more mid-rangey version. So the Hallowed Haunting version, which generally has a little bit better of a matchup against Rakdos. The Calyx version into a format with a lot of removal isn't always the best. So it's using the Rite of Harmony. So what you can do is on your upkeep, when your sagas are about to flip, you can Rite of Harmony and draw a bunch of cards. You're playing like Teachings of the Kirin, Restoration of Ajanjo, and then you have your Spirited Companion, Jukai Naturalist, Generous Visitor, and Catilda as your creatures. Another Wedding Announcement deck, only 2 in the main. Another in the side, Lauren's Extra Forest, I guess for the... Oh, it's only 20 lands, so that's a... I guess if you're bringing in the Nisa, you bring in the Forest as well. Just gives you some more copies. With the lands, I guess, because you are playing the Restoration, that helps you find lands as well. So interesting kind of deck here. Stonebrain, I'm guessing, is the name of Traxxas. We then go to Boros Midrange. So this is kind of like a take on the mono white midrange deck, but going red. You get access to Italy as kind of your main payoff, as well as Fable the Mirrorbreaker. It's using Guardian of Girapur to blink your Enter the Battlefield style effects like Spirited Companion, Ambitious Farmhand, Italy, Lauren. You can reset your Sarah Paragon and then play another card from your graveyard. Interestingly, no Wandering Emperor in the main, just a single copy of Eternal Wander. You also have an Invoke Justice to buy back something from your graveyard as well. Some Elish Norn Moms for Enter the Battlefield effects. I do not know what this card does. Exile target creature or opponent controls a mana value 4 or greater. Okay, so just dealing with big stuff. And then if they are, this is actually pretty good against the domain ramp deck, because then you also gain control of all permanents they own, so you get to take control of theirs as well. Interesting kind of deck there. Then we go to Orzhov Midrange, so this is the Autumn Burchett deck from the Pro Tour. Kind of similar ideas using the mono white package. This one's going for black for Breach the Multiverse is kind of the payoff. Otherwise, it's kind of the similar package. Ambitious Farmhand, Sarah Paragon, bunch of removal in the white, but this one's also got the Wandering Emperor in the main board. And then lastly, we have the ramp deck. So this is leveraging Topiary Stomper and Invasion of Zendikar to help you get ahead on mana. Your payoffs are Itali, and then Atraxa Grand Unifier, draws you a bunch of cards, gives you a big body. Archangel of Wrath also helps in the aggro matchups to just kind of shoot things down, gain you life, and then be a decent sized body with lifelink. You have Leyline Binding as a 1-mana removal spell in this deck, since you can hit Domain, as well as Ossification and Sunfall. Broken Counterpart as a copy effect seems kind of cool. So you can copy your opponent's Atraxas or stuff like that. Some Bankbusters, Vanquish the Horde Sweepers, and then Chrome Host Seed Shark against the kind of when your opponent brings some bigger stuff. In the kind of grindier matchups, you get to make tokens and stuff. That's pretty much it. Let me know if you're going to try out any of these lists, and we'll come back on Monday with the ban announcement and then kind of highlight what decks will be seemingly worth a shot at once we go to post-ban standard. So happy weekend, and we'll catch you next time.